hour of woe. Yet, so far hath discretion fought with nature, that we with wisest sorrow think on him, together with remembrance of ourselves. Therefore, our sometime sister, now our queen, the imperial jointress of this warlike state, have we, as 'twere with a defeated joy, with one auspicious and one drooping eye, with mirth in funeral and with dirge in marriage, in equal scale weighing delight and dole, taken to wife. Nor have we herein barred your better wisdoms, which have freely gone with this affair along, for all our thanks. Now follows that you know, young Fortinbras, holding a weak supposal of our worth, or thinking by our late dear brother's death, our state to be disjoint and out of frame, colleagued with the dream of his advantage, he hath not failed to pester us with message importing the surrender of those lands lost by his father, with all bonds of law, to our most valiant brother. So much for him. Now, for ourself and for this time of meeting. Thus much the business is. We have here writ to Norway, uncle of young Fortinbras, who impotent and bedrid scarcely hears of this his nephew's purpose, to suppress his further gate herein, in that the levies, the lists, and full proportions are all made out of his subject. And we here dispatch you, good Cornelius, and you, Voltimand, for bearers of this greeting to old Norway, giving to you no further personal power to business with the king, more than the scope of these dilated articles allow. Farewell, and let your haste commend your duty.
In that and all things will we show our duty.
We doubt it nothing. Heartily farewell.
Farewell.
And now, Laertes, what's the news with you? You told us of some suit. What is, Laertes? Oh, you cannot speak of reason to the Dane and lose your voice. What wouldst thou beg, Laertes, that shall not be my offer, not thy asking? The head is not more native to the heart, the hand more instrumental to the mouth, than is the throne of Denmark to thy father. What wouldst thou have, Laertes?
Dread, my lord, your leave and favour to return to France. From whence, though willingly I came to Denmark to show my duty in your coronation, yet now I must confess that duty done, my thoughts and wishes bend again towards France, and bow them to your gracious leave and pardon.
Have you your father's leave? What says Polonius?
He hath, my lord, wrung from me my slow leave by laboursome petition, and at last upon his will I sealed my hard consent. I do beseech you, give him leave to go.
Take thy fare, our Laertes, time be thine, and thy best grace is, spend it at thy will. But now, my cousin Hamlet, and my son.
A little more than kin, and less than kind.
How is it that the clouds still hang on you?
Not so, my lord, I am too much i' the sun.
Good Hamlet, cast thy nighted colour off, and let thine eye look like a friend on Denmark. Do not forever with thy veiled lids seek for thy noble father in the dust. Thou know'st 'tis common, all that lives must die, passing through nature to eternity.
Ay, madam, it is common.
If it be, why seems it so particular with thee?
Seems, madam? Nay, it is. I know not seems. 'Tis not alone my inky cloak, good mother, nor customary suits of solemn black, nor windy suspiration of forced breath, no, nor the fruitful river in the eye, nor the dejected haviour of the visage, together with all forms, moods, shows of grief that can denote me truly. These indeed seem, for they are actions that a man might play. But I have that within which passeth show. These but the trappings and the suits of woe.
'Tis sweet and commendable in your nature, Hamlet, to give these mourning duties to your father. But you must know your father lost a father. That father lost his. and the survivor bound in filial obligation for some term to do obsequious sorrow. But to persever in obstinate condolement is a course of impious stubbornness. 'Tis unmanly grief. It shows a will most incorrect to heaven, a heart unfortified, a mind impatient, an understanding simple and unschooled. For what we know must be, and is as common as any the most vulgar thing to sense. Why should we, in our peevish opposition, take it to heart? Fie, 'tis a fault to heaven, a fault against the dead, a fault to nature, to reason most absurd, whose common theme is death of fathers, and who still hath cried from the first corpse till he that died today, this must be so. We pray you throw to earth this unprevailing woe, and think of us as of a father. For let the world take note, you are the most immediate to our throne, and with no less nobility of love than that which dearest father bears his son, do I impart towards you. For your intent in going back to school in Wittenberg, it is most retrograde to our desire, and we beseech you, bend you, to remain here in the cheer and comfort of our eye, our chiefest courtier, cousin, and our son.
Let not thy mother lose her prayers, Hamlet. I pray thee stay with us. Go not to Wittenberg.
I shall in all my best obey you, madam.
Why, it is a loving and a fair reply. Be as ourself in Denmark. Madam, come. This gentle and unforced accord of Hamlet's, it's smiling to my heart, in grace whereof no jocund health that Denmark drinks today, but the great cannon to the clouds shall tell. And the king's rouse the heavens shall brew it again, re-speaking earthly thunder. Come away!
Oh, that this too solid flesh would melt, thaw, and resolve itself into a dew. Or that the everlasting had not fixed his cannon against self-slaughter. Oh, God, how weary, stale, flat, and unprofitable seem to me all the uses of this world. Vile. The air bites shrewdly. It is very cold.
It is a nipping and an eager air.
What hour now?
I think it lacks of 12.
No, it is struck.
Indeed? I heard it not. And it draws near the season wherein the spirit held his wont to walk. What does this mean, my lord?
The king doth wake tonight and takes his rouse, keeps wassail, and the swaggering upspring reels. And as he drains his draughts of Rhenish down, the kettle drum and trumpet thus bray out the triumph of his pledge.
Is it a custom?
Aye, merriest. But to my mind, though I am native here and to the manner born, it is a custom more honoured in the breach than the observance. This heavy-headed revel, east and west, makes us traduced and taxed of other nations. They clap us drunkards, and with swinish phrase soil our edition, and indeed it takes from our achievements, though performed at height, the very pith and marrow of our attributes. So oft it chances in particular men, that for some vicious mole of nature in them as in their birth, wherein they are not guilty, since nature cannot choose his origin, by the o'ergrowth of some complexion, oft breaking down the pales and forts of reason, or by some habit that too much o'erleavens the form of plausive manners, that these men carrying, I say, the stamp of one defect, being nature's livery or fortune's star, his virtues else be they as pure as grace, as infinite as man may undergo, shall in the general censure take corruption from that particular fault. The dram of evil doth all the noble substance overdaub to his own scandal.
Look, my lord, it comes.
Angels and ministers of grace defend us. Be thou a spirit of health or goblin damned, bring with thee airs from heaven or blasts from hell. Be thy intent wicked or charitable, thou comest in such a questionable shape that I will speak to thee. I'll call thee Hamlet, king, father, royal Dane, oh answer me! Let me not burst in ignorance, but tell why thy canonized bones, hearsed in death, have burst their cerements. Why the sepulchre, wherein we saw thee quietly inurned, hath oped his ponderous and marble jaws to cast thee up again. What may this mean, that thou dead corpse again in complete steel revisit'st thus the glimpses of the moon, making night hideous and we, fools of nature, so horridly to shake our disposition with thoughts beyond the reaches of our souls? Say, why is this? Wherefore? What should we do?
It beckons you to go away with it, as if it's some impartment it desire to you alone.
With what courteous action it waves you to a more removed ground.
But do not go with it! No, by no means.
It will not speak. Then I will follow it.
Do not, my lord!
Why, what should be the fear? I do not set my life at a pin's fee, and for my soul, what can it do to that, being a thing immortal as itself? It waves me forth again. I'll follow it.
What if it tempt you toward the flood, my lord? Or to the dreadful summit of the cliff that beetles o'er his base into the sea, and there assume some other horrible form, which might deprive your sovereignty of reason and draw you into madness? Think of it! The very place puts toys of desperation without more motive into every brain that looks so many fathoms to the sea and hears it roar beneath.
It waves me still. Go on! I'll follow thee!
You shall not go, my lord!
Hold off your hand!
Be ruled, you shall not go!
My fate cries out, and makes these petty artery in this body as hardy as the Nemean lion's nerve. Still am I called. Unhand me, gentlemen! By heaven, I'll make a ghost of him that lets me! I say away! Go on! I'll follow thee!
He waxes desperate with imagination.
Let's follow. 'Tis not fit thus to obey him.
Have after. To what issue will this come?
Something is rotten in the state of Denmark.
Heaven will direct it.
Nay, let's follow him.
Whither wilt thou lead me? Speak! I'll go no further!
Mark me.
I will.
My hour is almost come, when I to sulphurous and tormenting flames must render up myself.
Alas, poor ghost.
Pity me not, but lend thy serious hearing to what I shall unfold.
Speak, I am bound to hear.
So art thou to revenge when thou shalt hear.
What?
I am thy father's spirit, doomed for a certain term to walk the night, and for the day confined to fast in fires, till the foul crimes done in my days of nature are burnt and purged away. But that I am forbid to tell the secrets of my prison house, I could a tale unfold whose lightest word would harrow up thy soul, freeze thy young blood, make thy two eyes like stars start from their spheres, thy knotted and binded locks to part, and each particular hair to stand an end, like quills upon the fretful porpentine. But this eternal blazon must not be to ears of flesh and blood. List, list, oh, list, if thou didst ever thy dear father love,
Oh God!
revenge his foul and most unnatural murder.
Murder!
Murder most foul, as in the best it is, but this most foul, strange, and unnatural.
Haste me to know it, that I with wings as swift as meditation or the thoughts of love may sweep to my revenge.
I found thee apt, and duller shouldst thou be when the fat weed roots itself in ease on the lethal wharf, wouldst thou not stir in bliss. Now, Hamlet, here, 'tis given out that sleeping in my orchard a serpent stung me, so the whole ear of Denmark is by a forged process of my death rankly abused. But know, thou noble youth, the serpent that did sting thy father's life now wears his crown.
Oh, my prophetic soul, my uncle!
Aye, that incestuous, that adulterate beast, with witchcraft of his wit, with traitorous gifts, oh, wicked wit and gifts that have the power so to seduce, one to his shameful lust, the will of my most seeming virtuous queen. No. Oh, Hamlet, what a falling off was there! From me, whose love was of that dignity that it went hand in hand even with the vow I made to her in marriage, and to decline upon a wretch whose natural gifts were poor to those of mine. And virtue, as it never will be moved, though lewdness caught it in a shape of heaven, so lust, though to a radiant angel linked, will sate itself in a celestial bed and prey on garbage. But soft, methinks I scent the morning air. Brief let me be, sleeping within my orchard, my custom always in the afternoon. Upon my secure hour thy uncle stole with juice of cursed Lebanon in a vial, and in the porches of mine ears did pour the leprous distilment, whose effect holds such an enmity with blood of man, that swift as quicksilver it courses through the natural gates and alleys of the body, and with a sudden vigour it doth posset and curd like eager droppings into milk, of thin and wholesome blood. So did it now, and a most instant tetter barked about, most leather-like, with vile and loathsome crust, all my smooth body. Thus was I sleeping by a brother's hand, of life, of crown, of queen, at once dispatched, cut off even in the blossoms of my sin, unhoused, disappointed, unannealed, no reckoning made, but sent to my account with all my imperfections on my head. Oh, horrible, most horrible. If thou hast nature in thee, bear it not. Let not the royal bed of Denmark be a couch for luxury and damned incest. But howsoever thou pursuest this act, taint not thy mind, nor let thy soul contrive against thy mother aught. Leave her to heaven, and to those thorns that in her bosom lodge, to prick and sting her. Fare thee well at once. The glowworm shows the matin to be near, and begins to pale his ineffectual fires. Adieu, adieu, Hamlet, remember me.
Oh, all you host of heaven, oh, earth, what else? And shall I couple hell, O thigh, hold my heart, and you, my sinews, grow not instant old, but bear me stiffly up. Remember thee, Ay, thou poor ghost, whilst memory holds a seat in this distracted globe, remember thee? Yea, from the table of my memory I'll wipe away all trivial fond records, all sores of books, all forms, all pressures past that youth and observation copied there, and thy commandment all alone shall live within the book and volume of my brain, unmixed with baser matter. Yes, by heaven. Oh, most pernicious woman. Oh, villain, smiling, dominant villain. My tables. Neat it is, I set it down, that one may smile and be a villain. At least I am sure it may be so in Denmark. So, uncle, there you are. Now to my word, it is adieu, adieu. Remember me. I have sworn.
My lord! My lord! My lord! Lord Hamlet! Heaven secure him!
So be it.
Ho! Ho! My lord!
Hello? Oh, boy! Come, Bert, come!
How is my noble lord? What news, my lord?
Oh, wonderful.
Good, my lord, tell it.
No, you will reveal it.
Not I, my lord, by heaven.
No, I, my lord. How say you then? Would heart of man once think it? But you'll be secret.
By heaven, my lord.
My lord.
There's ne'er a villain dwelling in all Denmark, but he's an arrant knave.
There needs no ghost, my lord, come from the grave to tell us this.
Why, right, you are in the right. And so, without more circumstance at all, I hold it fit that we shake hands and part. You as your business and desire shall point you, for every man hath business and desire, such as it is, and for my own poor part, look you, I'll go pray.
These are but wild and whirling words, my lord.
I'm sorry they offend you, heartily, yes, faith, heartily.
There's no offence, my lord.
Yes, by Saint Patrick, but there is, Horatio, and much offence too. Touching this vision here, it is an honest ghost, that let me tell you, for your desire to know what is between us, or master it as you may. And now, good friends, as you are friends, scholars and soldiers, give me one poor request.
What is, my lord? We will.
Never make known what you have seen tonight.
My lord.
We will not.
Nay, but swear it.
In faith, my lord, not I.
Nor I, my lord, in faith.
Upon my sword.
We have sworn, my lord, already.
Indeed, upon my sword, indeed. Boy, sayest thou so? Art thou there, true penny? Come on, you hear this fellow in the cellarage? Consent to swear.
Propose the oath, my lord.
Never to speak of this that you have seen. Swear by my sword.
We swear.
We swear.
Hic et ubique. Then we'll shift our ground. Come hither, gentlemen, and lay your hands again upon my sword. Never to speak of this that you have heard. Swear by my sword.
Swear by his sword.
We swear.
Well said, old mole. Canst work in the earth so fast. A worthy pioneer. Once more, remove, good friends.
Go day and night. But this is wondrous strange.
And therefore, as a stranger, give it welcome. There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in our philosophy. But come, here as before, never, so help you mercy, how strange or odd soe'er I bear myself, as I perchance hereafter shall think meet to put an antic disposition on, that you, at such time seeing me, never shall, with arms encumbered thus, or thus head shaked, or by pronouncing of some doubtful phrase, as well we know, or we could, and if we would, or if we list to speak, or they be, and if they might, or such ambiguous giving out to note that you know aught of me, this not to do. So grace and mercy at your most need help you. Swear.
We swear.
Rest, perturbed spirit. So, gentlemen, with all my love I do commend me to you, and what so poor a man as Hamlet is may do to express his love and friending to you, God willing, shall not lack. Let us go in together, and still, your fingers on your lips, I pray.
The time is out of joint. O cursed spite, that ever I was born to set it right. Nay, come. Let's go together.
And can you, by no drift of circumstance, get from him why he puts on his confusion? Grating so harshly all his days of quiet with turbulent and dangerous lunacy.
He does confess he feels himself distracted, but from what cause he will by no means speak.
Nor do we find him forward to be sounded, but with a crafty madness keeps aloof when we would bring him on to some confession of his true state.
Did he receive you well?
Oh, most like a gentleman.
But with much forcing of his disposition.
Well, niggard of question, but of our demands most free in his reply.
Did you assay him to any pastimes?
Madam, it so fell out that certain players we all wrought on the way. Of these we told him, and there did seem in him a kind of joy to hear of it. They are here about the court, and, as I think, they have already ordered this night to play before him.
It is most true, and he beseeched me to entreat your majesties to hear and see the matter.
With all my heart, and it doth much content me to hear him so inclined. Good gentlemen, give him a further edge, and drive his purpose on to these delights.
He shall, my lord.
Sweet Gertrude, leave us two, for we have closely sent for Hamlet hither, that he, as 'twere by accident, may hear of Ophelia. Her father and myself, lawful espousals, will so bestow ourselves that, seeing unseen, we may of their encounter frankly judge, and gather by him, as he is behaved, if be the affliction of his love, or no, that thus he suffers for.
I shall obey you. And for your part, Ophelia, I do wish that your good beauties be the happy cause of Hamlet's wildness. So shall I hope your virtues will bring him to his wonted way again, to both your honours.
Madam, I wish it may.
Ophelia, walk you here. Gracious, so please you, we will bestow ourselves. Read on this book, that show of such an exercise may colour your loneliness. We are oft to blame in this. 'Tis too much proved that with devotion's visage and pious action we do sugar o'er the devil himself.
Oh, 'tis too true. How smart a lash that speech doth give my conscience. The harlot's cheek, beautied with plastering art, is not more ugly to the thing that helps it than is my deed to my most painted word. Oh, heavy burden.
I hear him coming. Let's withdraw, my lord.
To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing end them. To die, to sleep, no more, and by a sleep to say we end the heartache and the thousand natural shocks that flesh is heir to. 'Tis a consummation devoutly to be wished. To die, to sleep, perchance to dream. Aye, there's the rub.
For in that sleep of death, what dreams may come when we have shuffled off this mortal coil must give us pause. There's the respect that makes calamity of so long life, for who would bear the whips and scorns of time, the oppressor's wrong, the proud man's contumely, the pangs of disprized love, the law's delay, the insolence of office, and the spurns that patient merit of the unworthy takes, when he himself might his quietus make with a bare bodkin? Who would fardels bear to grunt and sweat under a weary life, but that the dread of something after death, the undiscovered country from whose bourne no traveller returns, puzzles the will, and makes us rather bear those ills we have, than fly to others that we know not of. Thus conscience doth make cowards of us all, and thus the native hue of resolution is sicklied o'er with the pale cast of thought, and enterprises of great pith and moment, with this regard, their currents turn awry, and lose the name of action. Soft you now, the fair Ophelia. Nymph, in thy orisons, be all my sins remembered.
Good my lord, how does your honour for this many a day?
I humbly thank you. Well?
My lord, I have remembrances of yours that I have longed long to redeliver. I pray you now receive them.
No, not I. I never gave you aught.
My honoured lord, you know right well you did. And with them words of so sweet breath composed as made the things more rich. Their perfume lost, take these again. For to the noble mind rich gifts wax poor when givers prove unkind. There, my lord.
Huh? Are you honest?
My lord?
Are you fair?
What means your lordship?
That if you be honest and fair, your honesty should admit no discourse to your beauty.
Could beauty, my lord, have better commerce than with honesty?
Aye, truly, for the power of beauty will sooner transform honesty from what it is to a bawd than the force of honesty can translate beauty into his likeness. This was sometime a paradox, but now the time gives it proof. I did love you once.
Indeed, my lord, you made me believe so.
You should not have believed me. For virtue cannot so inoculate our old stock, but we shall relish of it. I loved you not.
I was the more deceived.
Get thee to a nunnery. Why wouldst thou be a breeder of sinners? I am myself indifferent honest, but yet I could accuse me of such things that it were better my mother had not borne me. I am very proud, revengeful, ambitious, with more offences at my beck than I have thoughts to put them in, imagination to give them shape or time to act them in. What should such fellows as I do, crawling between heaven and earth? We are arrant knaves, all believe, none of us go thy ways to a nunnery. Where's your father?
Home, my lord.
Well, let the doors be shut upon him, that he may play the fool nowhere but in his own house. Farewell!
Sweet heavens!
If thou dost marry, I'll give thee this plague for thy dowry. Be thou as chaste as ice, as pure as snow, thou shalt not scape calumny. Get thee to a nunnery. Go, farewell! Or if thou wilt needs marry, marry a fool, for wise men know well enough what monsters you make of them. To a nunnery, go, and quickly do, farewell!
I must restore him.
I have heard of your paintings too, well enough. God has given you one face, and you make yourselves another. You jig, you amble, and you lisp and nickname God's creatures, and make your wantonness your ignorance. Go to, I'll no warrant. It hath made me mad.
I say, we will have no more marriages.
Those that are married already, all but one, shall live. The rest shall keep as they are.
To a nunnery.
Go!
Oh, what noble mind is here overthrown? The courtiers, soldiers, scholars, eye, tongue, sword, the expectancy and rose of the fair state, the glass of fashion and the mould of form, the observed of all observers, quite down. And I, of ladies most deject and wretched, that sucked the honey of his music vows, now see that noble and most sovereign reason like sweet bells jangled out of tune and harsh, that unmatched form and feature of blown youth blasted with ecstasy. Oh, woe is me, to have seen what I have seen. See what I see.
Love? His affections do not that way tend. Nor what he spake, though it lacked form a little, was not like madness. There's something in his soul, o'er which his melancholy sits unbrewed. And I do doubt the hatch and the disclose will be some danger, which for to prevent, I have in quick determination thus set it down. He shall with speed to England, for the demand of our neglected tribute. Haply the seas and countries different, with variable objects, shall expel this something settled matter in his heart, whereon his brain, still beating, puts him thus from fashion of himself. What think you on't?
It shall do well, but yet do I believe the origin and commencement of this grief sprung from neglected love. How now, Ophelia? You need not tell us what Lord Hamlet said. We heard it all. My lord, do as you please. But, if you hold it fit, after the play let his queen mother all alone entreat him to show his griefs. Let her be round with him, and I'll be placed, so please you, in the ear of all their conference. If she find him not, to England send him, or confine him where your wisdom best shall think.
It shall be so. Madness in great ones must not unwatched go.
He will come straight. Look you, lay home to him. Tell him his pranks have been too broad to bear with, and that your grace has screened and stood between much heat and him. I'll silence me even here. Pray you be round with him.
I warrant you, fear me not. Withdraw behind the arras. I hear him coming.
Now, mother. What's the matter?
Hamlet, thou hast thy father much offended.
Mother, you have my father much offended.
Come, you answer with an idle tongue.
Go, you question with a wicked tongue.
Why, how now, Hamlet?
What's the matter
Have you forgot me?
No, by the rood, not so. You are the queen, your husband's brother's wife, and would it were not so, you are my mother.
Nay, then, I'll set those to you that can speak.
Come and sit you down. You shall not budge, you go not, till I set you up a glass where you may see the inmost part of you.
What wilt thou do?
Huh?
Thou wilt not murder me. Oh, help! Help!
Oh, help! Help!
Enough! A rat, dead for a ducat, dead!
Oh,
Please!
Oh, me, what hast thou done?
Nay, I know not. Is it the king?
Oh, what a rash and bloody deed is this!
A bloody deed, almost as bad, good mother, as kill a king and marry with his brother.
As kill a king!
Aye, lady, 'twas my word. Huh? Thou wretched, rash, intruding fool. Farewell. I took thee for thy better. Take thy fortune. Thou findest to be too busy as some danger. Leave wringing of your hands. Sit you down, and let me wring your heart. For so I shall, if it be made of penetrable stuff, if damned custom have not brassed it so that it is proof and bulwark against sense.
What have I done that thou darest wag thy tongue in noise so rude against me?
Such an act that blurs the grace and blush of modesty, calls virtue hypocrite, takes off the rose from the fair forehead of an innocent love, and sets a blister there, makes marriage vows as false as dice as oaths. Oh, such a deed as from the body of contraction plucks the very soul, and sweet religion makes a rhapsody of words. Heaven's face doth glow, yea, this solidity and compound mass, with tristful visage as against the doom, is thought sick at the act.
Ay me, what act that roars so loud and thunders in the index?
Look here upon this picture, and on this. The counterfeit presentment of two brothers. See what a grace was seated on his brow. Hyperion's curls, the front of Jove himself, an eye like Mars to threaten or command, a station like the herald Mercury new lighted on a heaven-kissing hill, a combination and a form indeed where every god did seem to set his seal to give the world assurance of a man. This was your husband. Look you now what follows. Here is your husband, like a mildewed ear, blasting his wholesome brother. Have you eyes? Could you on this fair mountain leave to feed and batten on this moor? Have you eyes? You cannot call it love, for at your age the heyday and the blood is tame, it's humble, and waits upon the judgment. And what judgment would stoop from this to this? Sense sure you have, else you could not have motion. But sure that sense is apoplexed, for madness would not err, nor sense to ecstasy was ne'er so thralled, but it reserved some quantity of choice to serve in such a difference. What devil was there that thus hath cozened you at hoodman blind? Eyes without feeling, feeling without sight, ears without hands or eyes, smelling sans all, or but a sickly part of one true sense could not so mope. Oh, shame! Where is thy blush? Rebellious hell, if thou canst mutine in a matron's bones, to flaming youth let virtue be as wax, and melt in her own fire. Proclaim no shame when the compulsive ardour gives the charge, since frost itself as actively doth burn, and reason panders will.
Oh, Hamlet, speak no more. Thou turn'st mine eyes into my very soul, and there I see such black and grained spots as will not leave their tinct.
Nay, but to live in the rank sweat of an ensued bed, stewed in corruption, honeying and making love over the nasty sty.
Oh, speak to me no more. These words like daggers enter in mine ears. No more, sweet
A murderer
Hamlet.
and a villain, a slave that is not 20th part the tithe of your precedent lord, a vice of kings, a cut purse of the empire and the rule, that from a shelf the precious diadem stole and put it in his pocket.
No more!
A king of shreds and patches. And hover over me with your wings, you heavenly gods. What would you, gracious figure?
He's mad.
Not you come your tardy son to chide, but lapsed in time and passion. Let's go by the important acting of your dread command. Who say?
Do not forget, this visitation is but to whet thy almost blunted purpose. But look, amazement on my mother sits. Oh, step between her and her fighting soul. Conceit in weakest bodies, strongest works. Speak to her, Hamlet.
How is it with you, lady?
Alas, I rest with you, that you do bend your eye on vacancy, and with the incorporeal air do hold discourse. For that your eyes your spirits wildly peel, and as the sleeping soldiers in the alarm, your bedded hair, like life in excrement, start up and stand on end. O gentle sun, upon the heat and flame of thy distemper sprinkle cool patience. Whereon do you look?
On him! On him! Look you how pale he glares! His form and cause conjoined, preaching to stones would make them capable. Do not look upon me, lest with this piteous action you convert my stern effects. Then what I have to do will want true colour. Tears, perchance, for blood.
To whom do you speak this?
Do you see nothing there?
Nothing at all. Yet all that is I see.
Nor did you nothing hear?
No, nothing but ourselves.
Why, look you there. Look how it steals away. My father, in his habit as he lived. Look where he goes, even now, out at the portal.
This is the very coinage of your brain.
Huh?
This bodiless creation, ecstasy, is very cunning and...
Ecstasy. My pulse as yours doth temperately keep time, and makes as healthful music. It is not madness that I have uttered. Bring me to the test, and I the matter will reword which madness would gamble from. Mother, for love of grace, lay not that flattering unction to your soul, that not your trespass, but my madness speaks. It will but skin and film the ulcerous place, whilst rank corruption, mining all within, infects unseen. Confess yourself to heaven, repent what's past, avoid what is to come, and do not spread the compost or the weeds to make them ranker. Forgive me this my virtue, for in the fatness of these pursy times virtue itself of vice must pardon beg, yea, curb and woo for leave to do him good.
Left my heart in twain.
Oh, throw away the worser part of it, and live the purer with the other half. Good night. But go not to my uncle's bed. Assume a virtue if you have it not. That monster custom, who all sense doth eat of habits vile, is angel yet in this, that to the use of actions fair and good he likewise gives a frock or livery that aptly is put on, refrains the night, and that shall lend a kind of easiness to the next abstinence, the next more easy, for use almost can change the stamp of nature, and either shame the devil, or throw him out with wondrous potency. Once more, good night. And when you are desirous to be blessed, I'll blessing beg of you. For this same Lord I do repent. But heaven hath pleased it so to punish me with this, and this with me, that I must be their scourge and minister. I will bestow him, and will answer well the death I gave him. So again, good night. I must be cruel, only to be kind. Thus bad begins, and worse remains behind. One word more, good lady.
What shall I do?
Not this. By no means that I bid you do. Let the bloat king tempt you again to bed. Pinch wanton on your cheek, call you his mouse, and let him for a pair of reechy kisses, or paddling in your neck with his damned fingers, make you to ravel all this matter out, that I essentially am not in madness, but mad in craft. 'Twere good you let him know. For who that's but a queen, fair, sober, wise, would from a paddock, from a bat, a jib, such dear concernings hide? Who would do so? No, in despite of sense and secrecy, unpeg the basket on the house's top, let the birds fly, and like the famous ape, to try conclusions, in the basket creep, and break your own neck down.
Be thou assured, if words be made of breath, and breath of life, I have no life to breathe what thou hast said to me.
I must to England, you know that.
Oh, alack, I had forgot. 'Tis so concluded on.
There's letters sealed, and my 2 schoolfellows, whom I will trust as I will adders fanged. They bear the mandate. They must sweep my way, and marshal me to knavery. Let it work. For 'tis the sport to have the engineer hoist with his own petard, and 'twill go hard, but I will delve 1 yard below their minds, and blow them at the moon. Oh, 'tis most sweet, when in one line 2 crafts directly meet. This man shall set me packing. I'll lug the guts into the neighbour room. Mother, good night indeed. This counsellor is now most still, most secret, and most grave, who was in life a foolish, prating knave. Come, sir, to draw toward an end with you. Good night, Mother.